Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to the second half of Charlie McGrath's Wide Awake News. This is Karen Quinn Tostado. Usually, I am on Friday nights, and I will be on Friday night with Michael Shaw of freedomadvocates.org. We're going to talk about Agenda 21 and what it means to you, because we are all affected. Now, I was happy to hear Eric's program tonight because it ties in very well with this next program. And I don't know if you folks are familiar with David Wilcock, who just interviewed Drake on a movement that is taking place behind the scenes. And I am excited to talk to him personally, to meet him. And first I'm going to introduce Deatra and she is from freedomreigns.us. We put the link in earlier. So, Deatra, are you there?
I am, Karen, and thank you so much for having us. Drake and I are both really excited to be here.
Well, I'm really excited for you to be here because while I admit to having skepticism, I want to be open to what you're talking about, because I believe that it not only is possible, but it should be what is happening. So why don't I hand it over to you, Deatra, because you can fill folks in much better, and I'll watch for questions, and let us know exactly what you and Drake are doing.
Oh, no problem, Karen. Well, basically, Drake gave a lot of the details in his interview with David Wilcock as to how we kind of got where we're at now. We started, a lot of us, because Pennsylvania had actually found a process that was lawful to get us out of this mess we're in and to free us from the well, as we all keep calling them, the bad guys. And Drake was more of a key in that, actually, that dated way back before Pennsylvania had found the steps that were needed. And we, the people, were asked to step up and fulfill this process. I'm going to let Drake describe that process in a minute. And anyway, so all a few of us from various states, we stepped up and we did this process to reclaim our individual states. And now we are focusing on building up with we the people, because that's what it's about. It's about we the people. It's not about rebuilding a government. It's none of that. This is about the people stepping up, taking charge, and being the sovereign individuals and states that we were created to be. So, Drake, if you would, maybe you could kind of let our listeners know exactly what that process was to the best of your ability. We realize that a lot you can't go into detail for safety issues, not just yourself, but a lot of those who actually did the initial process.
Okay, well, basically it's a notification process. What happened was that certain people found out how in Pennsylvania. They did it. And as soon as they got receipt that the notification that they had completed was accepted at the certain portion of the court, this is the International Court in Hague, they get a call from the Pentagon, and they wanted to know if they could replicate it. And they said, well, we don't know, and well, give it a shot and see how you do. So basically, they did. Everybody got involved. A lot more people thought it was going to be more complicated than it is. Primarily, what it deals with is a de jure meeting of residents of a state, and what the residents of that state stipulate is a complete divorcement and separation of the state itself in declaratory form, or declaration, that we no longer are participating with the corporate government. Primarily, this includes a constitution, let's see here, Bill of Rights, Articles of Confederation, And the one document that we resurrected because of the type of notification we made through the minutes of the meeting, the Declaration of Independence. The whole thing is then bundled, and there's several legal processes you go through, and basically that is then sent off. Well, what we did basically was to put together all of it, in other words, a majority of the states, along with a couple of Indian nations, into a single package and sent that. And what that accomplished was to basically, under the legal authority of the civilians, allowed the military whatever action they needed to take in terms of backing up an effort to remove repressive government, as it states, I think it's paragraph 2 in the Declaration of Independence. And the Pentagon came back and gave us a gold star on the paperwork. They just loved it. Now, this does not mean, and everybody thought it would, an immediate action on the part of the military to remove everybody. We were hoping that it might be able to be done that way. However, I have since found out from the people that are principals in the international scene that there are a lot of complex legalities that are involved in this. Those complex legalities are to be implemented in the very near future, within 30 to 45 days. So, yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, and it's nice to meet you. I'm remembering that Eric was talking earlier in the first hour about show him the paperwork. Is there any way that people can look up to see what paperwork has been filed by you?
No. Until this action is completed, it would be best not to endanger the people who have signed documents in that process, among other things. The other part of it was if the documentation was made known, I can guarantee at least 2 or 3 deaths. We've already had 14, and I don't think we need more.
No, that's the ultimate sacrifice here. Well, I'm just trying to address some questions that were brought up prior to this program, and one of them also talked about Tim Turner and the group he had, the Restore America plan. But you are totally different from that, are you not?
Yes, the difference is simple. Mr. Turner's group basically is an organization. Tim Turner is the supposed absolute leader, according to some of the recordings I've heard. The idea was that they would set up a government and replace the one we've got. He's told several different stories about being involved with the government and a few other things that have not panned out to be true. These come from the people he supposedly contacted. The difference between that organization and ours is, for one, this was an individual effort by individual states who simply collectively put it all in a shoebox. We don't have an organization, and we do not have a leader, and therefore we do not have a target that can be easily identified and hit. This preserves the safety of the individuals, as I said, that signed the paperwork in the individual states. We don't even know everybody that signed those documents. And this goes, like I say, again, to more of a safety ideal. The other part of it is that it cannot be done as an organization if there were one formed until after you have the completion of the documents in terms of a return notice. Secondly, you have to have a confederation agreement between the states that are completed, or an agreement, I don't know what you call it, collective, however you want to determine that, in order for them to take action as a group. And that has not been done yet. Primarily right now you have a group of individual sovereign states who have also declared the civil authority to the military to go ahead and use that secondary paragraph in removing the repressive corporation that we've got a problem with. That's primarily what the deal was. The paperwork went over as a notification. I want to make this clear. A notification only. It was used like a newspaper ad where I'm not responsible for any debts, etc., kind of thing. There's no approval or acceptance, and we, in our paperwork, in terms of the minutes of the meetings, denied any affiliation with any of the groups, associations, IMF, any of the financials, any of the corporations that are dealing as such with the repression that we're fighting. So
now, you talk
that's
about
different.
Okay, thank you for that. And you talk about a corporation, which definitely, I mean, the United States is a corporation. We're all corporate slaves, corporate debt slaves. I do have a question for you from the chat here. Is this not what the South did back in the 1860s, and how is what you are doing different?
Okay, you got to remember the dates. We're using the 1787 Constitution, and our documentation basically comes from that era. That Constitution includes the 13th Amendment, and I'm not talking about the one about slavery. That's 14th. 13th Amendment was ratified in 1812, and 2 more times after that, and then was disappeared conveniently because there were too many lawyers involved in the process. Consequently, they wanted to keep their jobs and maintain their capability of raping the people, and so consequently that provision disappeared. Anybody can look it up online, and it basically says that no one can be a foreign agent and serve in any office here. So under just that particular part of the 13th, anybody who's a lawyer has a choice, and that is to renege on the bar, denounce the license to practice law, and this has to be done officially, or they're not allowed to hold office. Further, it goes to the point of actually removing them as citizens. So all the lawyers that are in offices all over the place have a choice. They can either take a walk or resign from the bar, pretty much.
Now, okay, so go ahead.
I'm done.
Oh, well, I'm trying to put all these pieces together. So I heard you on the David Wilcock interview, and you've done some quite extensive background research. You were talking about looking into canon law and ecclesiastical law and Sumerian law, and really wanting to get back to the basics. So the paperwork that has been filed, this is in every state now?
We're not totally complete with all of the states, no. But
we're only lacking, Drake, let me answer that. We're only lacking approximately 10 states as far as doing the going through the process. However, they are filed as territories pending, meaning they are already there. We're just going to get them through the process, and then they will be completed as well.
Okay. And now, Drake, I know that you talked about the military earlier, and I also, I remain skeptical but hopeful. I do think that this should be happening, that people should be more aware of what exactly the stakes are. But I did hear Greg Everson today saying that according to all his sources that have been confirmed by an active Air Force colonel, he knows a sheriff, supposedly he's got state troopers, 3 chiefs of police, and a federal agent, and they're all expecting that due to the crash of the economy, that they're going to have to use force here in terms of real force here on the people, and that the 2009 census was really to get the stats so that they could know who was going to be resisting where,